Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, Boots on the Ground, where we spotlight professionals in the field who have overcome challenges and how they work through them. Their stories offer real-world insights and tips for thriving in today's competitive landscape.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Get Your Mind Right. This is the world's only daily video podcast, especially for merchant services and digital marketing professionals. Now, this is our special edition of Boots on the Ground, and I have with us Miss Megan Sims here, who is our Director of Operations at Evolve. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for joining us again. Now, our subject is resiliency. So we left off yesterday is we were going to get into our quiz, and what Megan did was developed a self-diagnosis quiz that we could take to see if and what your resiliency factor is. But Megan, you don't happen to have that at your fingertips, do you?
I most definitely do.
Oh, great.
And are you ready to take it, John?
Well, I am. Do I have to share my results?
That could be interesting. I'll leave that up to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell me how this works.
Okay, so I've got 10 questions. It's a ranking of 1 to 5. So 1 being never, 5 being always. Okay? So we'll start with number 1. In a crisis, I calm myself and I focus on taking useful action. 1, never, 5, always.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm usually optimistic. Difficulties are temporary, and I expect to overcome them. 3, I adapt quickly to new developments. 4, I feel self-confident and I appreciate myself. 5, I learn valuable lessons from my experiences and others, which has made me stronger. 6, I use analytical logic, creativity, and common sense to configure resolutions. I'm good at problem solving.
Okay.
7, I read people well, and I trust my intuition. 8, I prefer to work without a written job description. I'm more effective when I'm free to do what I think is best in each situation. And that's for a more senior representative, right? So assume you are educated in that role.
Okay.
9, I am able to recover emotionally from losses and setbacks. 10, I am a better person because of the obstacles I've overcome.
Okay.
Let's add all those up.
All right, well, I'm gonna be silent on what my score is here for a moment here. So the first thing I want to ask you is that what do you think? First of all, did you take this quiz yourself?
I did.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So what do you think that? Let's see, how do I want to phrase this? So, I have the benefit of knowing you, and I feel like you have a pretty. My opinion anyway of you is that you have a high degree of honesty with yourself. I don't think you kid yourself or lie to yourself a lot, right? Now that being said, let's say you gave yourself a score and you had someone else that knew you really, really well. I mean, what do you think that their score would really line up with yours?
I actually did that. So before I did this presentation in the morning, I did this questionnaire with my entire customer service team to see where they would rank themselves, but also me. They ranked me higher than I would rank myself, is how it turned out in the end game. I always think that I am harder on myself than anyone else, and that really is how it should be, because overall it's my responsibility to improve, right?
Yeah.
No one's going to do the improving for me. So if I'm harder on myself, then I will do better in the long run. However, I'm also realistic with myself. If I do well, I pat myself on the back. I celebrate myself as well. I did have an example for this when I gave my customer service team this quiz. I first just asked, who in the room is resilient? And I had one person that said, I'm not, ever. And I was immediately shocked by hearing that, because we're all resilient. Everyone in customer service is resilient. You do it every day. You do it on every call, right? You have an obstacle that's brought to you. It's a question you didn't know 2 seconds ago before answering that call, and you have to find a resolution. So you're asking the right question to get you to the answer. And during that process, you're being resilient to overcome that obstacle. So yes, you're resilient every day, right? So I actually ranked them higher in most cases as well when I did the self-assessment for them. And I believe that we all are more hard on ourselves, but there's also that self-awareness we do need to have. Everybody's living this life for the first time. Everybody makes mistakes. But just knowing when to pick yourself back up and when to move forward from those, giving yourself those 90 seconds to have that emotional resiliency and move on to the next item, move on towards question.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So I was thinking about myself, and I think that, for me though, I mean, you know me, I mean, resiliency is probably one of the easier things you could grade me on, right? Or really anyone that has exposure to me. So I thought it was interesting. There were a couple I marked myself down on here, and it's you gave me some food for thought on this though.
Yeah, most definitely. I know like the ones that I personally struggle with, I'll go ahead and highlight. So number one, in a crisis, I calm myself and I focus on taking useful action. I don't give myself a 5 there because there's sometimes I'm not always calm. I don't take the time, 90 seconds to breathe, firstly, and then secondly, think through my response. And that's okay. I'm human. I get it. That's going to happen. But I need to be able, after that initial reaction, to say, okay, Megan, next time you take a few seconds, you gather your thoughts, you take a breath, and then you speak on it. Your thoughts are going to translate better, number one. Number two, that emotion is not going to be as upfront, potentially hurtful, right? So you want to be able to immediately have that conversation with yourself, but then also at night is how I do it. I go back to that drawing board. Hey, remember when you did this? How could we have handled that differently? Why did I react like that? Was there, was I hungry? Was I stressed? Was there too many calls coming in? Maybe there's a way for me to block and tackle some of those items too, so that doesn't occur in the future when that same question is presented to me.
Well, I had this in my notes and you just brought it up. So I want to address this now. Talk to me about this 90-second rule that you have.
It's a great rule. It is a great rule. I learned that in college, and it came to me from a coach, my college softball coach. I was struggling heavily with hitting. My hitting percentage was dropping drastically, and I just couldn't figure it out. It didn't make sense to me. I practice every day. I'm practicing harder than everyone next to me. Why can't I do this? It doesn't make sense. My coach, it didn't make sense to him either, right? Because he saw the work that was going into it. He knew where the issue was. It was in my head. I wasn't being resilient or confident. I was lacking that. I had all the technical skills, but I couldn't get past the thought and logic around it. So he told me, you have 90 seconds. You have 90 seconds when something occurs to you where that emotion flushes through your body. Basically, it's a chemical reaction. It goes through your body where your emotion is heightened for 90 seconds. So you stub your toe. That next 90 seconds, that emotion is heightened. You feel the pain, right? After those 90 seconds, though, all of those chemicals have gone through the body. That emotion should be gone, right? Anything thereafter those 90 seconds, it's in your head. You are thinking this pain, you are thinking this sorrow, this hardship, this lack of confidence. So he had put that towards me as in a way of, when you strike out, I don't want to hear about it in the dugout. I don't want to hear about it tomorrow. I don't want to hear about it at all. I want you to take 90 seconds. I want you to run to the fence, and I want you to run back. And by the time you get here, all of those emotions are gone. It's no longer in your body. So anything that you're doing, you're self-creating. Be self-aware, stop that.
So how long did it come around to where you were actually able to implement that and get the desired effect?
The next at bat.
Really? Really?
Yep, it worked right away, and I think that's why I hone in on it so much, because it did help me immediately.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt you there, but you know, not everybody's able to do that. I mean, that's easy to say, that's hard to do. So, you know, why do you think that worked for you immediately?
Because I think that I was in my head about it being technical, about my swing not being what it should be.
Yeah.
When in reality, someone had come to me and given me the confidence of, you are doing the right things. You are practicing well. You are doing your technical skills correct. It's in your head. And this is why, and this is how to get over it. Take 90 seconds, come back, fresh start, and just do what you normally do every day when you go up to bat. You can't do any worse than you're doing right now. That's for sure, right? So just getting up at bat and thinking, get out of your head. You've done this forever. They have confidence in you. The emotion is no longer here. I'm just focused on this.
Yeah. So how much of this though do you think, obviously you wanted to get out of this funk, right? So, you know, how much of this do you think that someone gave you an avenue to get out of this funk, and you logically this made sense to you, and you took it and it worked?
I mean, that was one instance, right? I've used it in multiple instances in my life, mainly with responding to someone when I hear something, right, that it doesn't necessarily sit right with me. I immediately have an emotion that could be negative or sad, and taking that 90 second, that's probably how I use it most in the day-to-day, right? Taking that 90 seconds to, okay, let's not say that in that email, right? Backspace, backspace, backspace. Let's go at it from a different route, be understanding of the others in the audience. So I hope that answers your question there. I feel like I kind of went on a tangent, but you can use it every day. Are you going to be successful with it every day? No. But knowing when to go back to the drawing board and self-assess and be self-aware and make changes. Ask for a mentor if you don't know the next step when you do get to those changes.
Very good. Well, Megan, we're out of time for today. Can I get you to come back tomorrow morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will see you here tomorrow morning.